Happy holidays and welcome to TWIP Pro Photo Critique number 45. This is TWIP. Hey folks, welcome back to another TWIP Pro Photo Critique. As you can tell, we have the holiday spirit here at TWIP headquarters. I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Troy Miller, who I don't think has as much holiday spirit as I do. Troy,
I got a tassel.
That doesn't count, man.
It doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
I specifically picked this beanie because I'm like, oh, it has a tassel.
It's got to be white, man. Come on.
No, I don't have anything that isn't either gray or black. That's only clothing colors I own.
I hear it. Yeah, me too for the most part. I see a Christmas tree over your shoulder there. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you're not completely the Grinch, right? You have a little bit of holiday spirit going on.
A little bit. Yeah.
No, it's good. It's all good. Cool, man. Well, we've got a lot of stuff to go through. We've got a couple of submissions, I think, that could deserve our attention. Are you ready to dive in?
I am ready.
All right. Let me see if I can pull up TWIP Pro here. There we go. We are inside TWIP Pro. I'm going to start at the top. First one looks like we're going to talk about is from Armando Brooke. And Armando says, let's bring it up full screen. Oh, let me go back and read this. He says, I started in 2015 to play in Photoshop to compose photos to bring movement to my image. This is a composite from 5 images shot with his D800. Let's take a look. Look at that.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah, I like this kind of shot because we harp on this show a lot, Troy Miller, about the idea of telling stories in your photographs and, you know, just sort of not just taking a photo for the sake of taking the photo, but taking the photo and also telling a narrative in that photo. I look at this shot and I mean, there's not an explicit photo in there, but there's movement going on. I mean, I see 3 iterations of this painted face lady, you know, one with her eyes sort of looking down, then the ghost of her in the middle, and then her final position with her giving sort of the side eye to the camera. And it evokes some kind of emotion, like what is going on that street? What is happening there that she's dressed like that and looking at me? It's kind of creepy. I mean, creepy in a good way. It's kind of in a Cirque du Soleil kind of way. What did you think of this when you saw it?
No, I thought this was fantastic. I thought it was brilliant in the whole concept and the execution and everything. I mean, I love the fact even that the subject's eyes are closed in the first one. In the middle, they're a little bit open, and then at the end, they're open and they're looking at you. You know, the background is blurry from the panning shots. This is really interesting. I mean, it really sort of takes that whole idea that you think you've already figured out like all the things you can do in photography, and then somebody shows you an image like this, and you're like, oh, yeah. I want to go to Vegas now. I want to go walk around in the streets of Vegas, and I want to shoot stuff, and I want to build these.
Do a whole series like that, right?
Yeah.
So technically, this is just for the folks that are wondering how Armando did this. He popped the flash probably 3 times in here, right? Once for the initial exposure of the woman in the back, then maybe another one in the middle at lower power, maybe, and then another one on the end. Is that what you're saying, or is maybe a different technique was used?
No, there's definitely 3 photos. I don't think there's a flash going on in here though. I'm betting that he brought up her face or his face in the first image, and then, you know, because it falls out as it goes to the right.
That could be man. You're right. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily do this without a strobe. I mean, you don't need this to stop motion because the subject's not moving as much as your background. Yep. And then the panning is happening more on the right, the last image, because as you pan, right, the background now is coming closer to you and moving faster.
Interesting. Armando, sound off in TWIP Pro. Let us know exactly how you did this. Now I'm really intrigued because I had it in my head that this was definitely, you know, a freeze frame with a flash kind of shot. Now that you say that, yeah, absolutely. Could have done it panning and with some other skill. So yeah, I definitely want to know how to do this.
Right. I would my only suggestion to this image would be to crop off the street lights on the left-hand side. The upper left corner. You could crop those out and they really don't add or serve anything, and it gets rid of that highlight that detracts from your subject's first face.
Yeah. I like his choice of doing the oblong sort of panoramic framing too, because it adds to the excitement, and it's leading you through the image. So your head has no choice but to sort of start on the left and then turn to the right. Right? He's guiding you through the shot.
Yes, exactly.
Very cool.
And I think you need to refresh your browser. I
do. Oh.
You're missing an image.
Okay, let me do that. Are you saying there's something else in there that I need to see? Okay, refreshing the browser, and here's a Troy Miller shot at the top there. All right, posted 40 minutes ago. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's look at this Troy Miller shot. Let's bring this up.
Well, this is a series I've been working on, and I was very curious for you to critique it, because when it's our own image, that it's oftentimes hard for us to see past what our expectations were. So we all need critiques, no matter where we are in our photography. So sure. This is something different that I've been playing with for a while. So I was curious what your thoughts were.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. And clearly, I've just seen this for the first time. So I'm looking at this now. Okay, so when I look at this, because my brain is always in the solar system or in the universe, I see celestial sort of Big Bang going on in here, beginning of the universe, and it's sort of reinforced by, I don't know if that's a jar around the edge or whatever, but when I look at it, my brain is thinking, this is the Big Bang. This is the beginning. This is 2.000000001 of the Big Bang, and that outer ring is the shock field that's following the bang, that's spreading out, and those are all the fundamental elements of the universe that are sort of getting ready to expand out. But somehow Troy was there, and he captured this shot without being destroyed at that moment. It looks really
that's
cool.
How good the Nikon Z7 is. I just want you to know.
It bends space and time. No, I love it. I love the shot. This is real. I mean, I love the colors, and I can't tell if it's, which is really good, because I can't tell if it's organic, chemical, or I know you like to capture explosions and that sort of thing. So I don't know if this is like pyro. I can't tell, which is cool. So tell me. I love it. What is this? What'd you do?
It's in a tray that's about 2 inches across, 3 inches across, and it's glow stick material.
This is glow stick material? Really?
Yep.
Oh, the juice that's inside of a glow stick?
Yep.
You know, it's illegal to open those glow sticks, right? It's a federal
I did not
offense.
read that on the package.
It is a federal offense. They'll come get you if you it's just like cutting the tags off your mattress. No, that is cool. See, I love that. You like this experimentation. What did you shoot this with? This is a macro lens?
Yeah, this was probably shot with my Sony when I was shooting, when I still had my Sony stuff, like a Sony macro, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's I experiment. I don't even remember. I have to look at my notes, but there was all kinds of different substrate materials, like different kinds of oil and things that I was dripping the colors into, and trying to get them to mix and
you were
separate.
Just randomly mixing chemicals together.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that could end badly. I'm just saying.
No, none of this blew up. None of this stuff could burn.
It didn't have to blow up. You could be like, "What's that almond smell?" And then you just sort of pass out. No, this is cool. What was this just you experimenting? Was this for printing large or what?
It was just experimenting. Okay. I really just wanted to play with color, and I wanted to try something different. I'm always looking, what hasn't somebody photographed, like the inside of a blowtorch. I don't think there's a lot of photographs of that. I want to see that.
No, this is cool. Yeah, I'm sticking to my Big Bang theory though.
Okay, and you're okay. See, because I thought about doing it full circle, but I cut it off, so that seems to work okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That is totally cool. I mean, you being that far out into into space is kind of hard. You probably forgot the right lens to get the shot and everything. I understand.
Yeah. Well, this is okay. So really, this is
a star
me
forming in there somewhere on the left.
Yeah, I'm shooting through the portal of the TARDIS.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of TARDIS, I've decided. I was thinking about this yesterday. This is how nerdy I am. I've decided I want whatever they use to create the TARDIS. I want that, but I want a suitcase made from that material. Right? Wouldn't that be fantastic? A suitcase that is just infinite in space, but it's finite in dimension. That's what I want. Yeah, I'm a nerd. Whatever.
I'm with you.
Well, cool shot, man. This is awesome. When did you do this?
Last year, early last year. Yeah,
right.
wintertime last year. Usually that's when I make all the weird stuff.
Yeah,
because it's slow and I can go out in the garage. And I've been thinking about getting back.
In California, ladies and gentlemen, which means it rained a little bit.
This is true. Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, and no one can go outside, and no one knows how to drive in the rain because it's, oh my God, precipitation from the sky. This is heresy. Yeah. Cool, awesome. Thanks for posting that, man.
Yeah.
All right, Tim Engels in the house. Football Player 3 light setup. Let's take a look at this. All right. Tim is definitely like, I'm going to put something in there and I'm not cutting off any limbs, even though he cut them off at the knees.
Right at the knees, dude.
Right at the knees.
Just up a little bit more, just a little bit more, and it would have been, like great. But no, let's take him right off at the joint. Let's
right at the joint, right there.
That's right there. I'm uncomfortable just looking at that.
You don't know what's below there. Might be a couple stilts.
No.
But looking at the shot from a non-amputem standpoint, what do you think of it?
I like the pose and everything, and I like the attitude. I wish that the lighting, and I think this is the only time I've really had a critique on Tim's lighting. Mm-hmm. I feel like the lighting isn't dramatic enough.
Enough. You want more drama.
Yeah. I do. I think this would be great with that extreme hatchet lighting across the body and the face. I think that would really, really work all the way down the pants and the whole body and everything. I mean, as it is, it's great and it's expertly done, of course. Mm-hmm. But this kind of shot, I always like wish there was more. I mean, the ball has really good hatchet lighting on it, but you really can't see it on his arm and the left side of his face and things like that.
Do you know why do they call it hatchet lighting? I said side lighting from both sides with, I don't know, maybe a stop and a half or less down the middle of the subject. Why is that hatchet?
I don't. You know what? I'm trying to think of a clever response, and I really couldn't tell you. I really don't know. I mean, it's basically double short lighting. Mm-hmm. Really.
Symmetrical short. That's what it should be. Symmetrical short.
Yeah. Yeah. Hatchet sounds better.
It does.
I don't know. I mean, Joel Grimes was one of sort of the pioneers of that look, mm-hmm. And then compositing in the background end. So maybe that's why I'm such a fan of some of his work, that I think it would be more dramatic that way.
Cool.
But very well done, except for the knees.
Except for the knees. I think Tim's punking you right now.
I think he is.
Tim is like, I'm gonna continue this theme. All right.
And I appreciate that. That's great.
I do too. Tim Engel, thank you. All right, here's one right up your alley. This is from Mark Harris. Mark says, an infrared photograph of my model Carly Ad Astra in her kitchen on an overcast day, made with his black and white converted D200. So black and white. Nikon D3200. So black and white and infrared. When I was looking at this, I wanted to ask you sort of the dynamics of shooting infrared skin. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I remember when you were up in Sacramento and we were talking, you had mentioned that light reflects a layer down from the epidermis or something, mm-hmm. So that gives you sort of this sort of weird look. And I know Peter Levshin echoed that because he did some infrared shots of people with tattooed faces, and you could see the tattoos much better in infrared because they were a layer below the skin surface. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's just a technique that we can use with our subjects. Is infrared light is a different visual spectrum than what we're used to seeing, so it's just a tool and a technique. It can, however, be not very complementary. I mean, you can see veins usually underneath the skin, things like that, and it also depends on the conversion that you've done with the camera. There's different conversion wavelengths that you can convert to. So. I've seen one of Mark's images on Instagram that I really love as well, and the nice thing is that the black and white infrared makes the skin very, very, very soft and almost translucent. Mm-hmm. So what he's done here is really kind of a wonderful use of that. And I think it's clever. You know, if you were to shoot straight into her face and stuff, the eyes usually go dark, and you know, it's a little bit more macabre. But this is really nice. This is really handled well.
But what are we gaining? And this is not being critical. This is from a yeah, I guess a position of ignorance. But what are we gaining from shooting, or what is he gaining from shooting this in infrared versus just straight black and white?
Not to get too technical, I mean, the infrared light is entering her skin and reflecting out of it, so it's a little bit more translucent as opposed to normal visual light. It's just bouncing off the surface. And with that, the camera is more sensitive to the infrared light than it is the other light in the room. So when you expose for that, it changes the behavior of light that we're used to seeing. If that's a simpler way to put it. It looks different because it doesn't behave the same way. And then there's the attributes of even like the material that she's wearing, depending on what that is. Like a polyester or an artificial weave will luminesce more than, say, a natural material. So it just changes how the light behaves. Okay. Which gives us just a little bit of spice in an image to be just different enough to make you think like I'm thinking, well, how did he do that? And you know, and yeah, which keeps you on the image more. It makes it more interesting. Right. And I'm guessing that from your questions, you haven't read my latest blog post. Oh, I haven't. Tell me about your latest blog post, because you hacked up one of your new Nikons, right? I did, yeah. The Z6, I converted it, but it's about, you know, using infrared light to see the world different. And it amazes you. I mean, you point that camera around at things and you're like, what? Why does that look like that? Yeah, that is cool. And that's a ballsy move to take a brand new version 1 camera that you were in love with and send it off to be converted and have the sensor toyed around with, right? Yeah. Weren't you nervous? A little bit, tiny bit? No. I trust the guys that do it, and they can unconvert it. It's just a filter. They just take the filter out. Yeah. Okay. It's a reversible. So it's not like a camera sectomy, right? It is. No. It's a sensor sectomy. Your camera doesn't come back looking like the Borg had their way with it, you know. Exactly. Although that would be pretty damn cool. If it came back with, you know, here's your little cutest camera. Right. No, but it's undoable. So yes, it's a little bit of a pricey conversion early on, but if you decided, like, look, I'm going to sell this body and you want to convert it back, you always can. Yeah. So it's not permanent. Yeah. Well, that's good. All right. Cool. Well, cool shot. Thank you. Yeah, I love it. Is this Mark Harris? Awesome. Thank you, Mark Harris. All right, moving right along. Joshua Sommerfeld is in here. Joshua says, here's a Sulawesi hornbill that tried to eat my camera. He tried to eat a Canon EOS 77D with a Yongnuo YN 50mm lens on it at f1.8. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, he does look hungry for lenses. Look at him. That guy. He looked like he could... oh, look at that detail, though. Look at the eyelashes around his eye. That is crazy. Yeah. It almost looks unreal. Oh, yeah. That is a crazy bird. You could do a close-up of just the eye with a piece of the beak and the little bit of the nose, right? Like just very abstract-y. That's very cool. Yeah, no, for sure. That beak looks like it could take a finger, though, doesn't it? You know? Oh, I bet. Yeah. Or at least do some damage to the finger. That is crazy. I like these kind of shots, though. I mean, this kind of shot, you know, I look at and I'm like, okay, because let me go back. What did he say he shot this with? This is a 50mm at f2.2. So he was kissing that bird. He was like right up on that bird. That's why I tried to eat it. That's why he tried to eat it. Because if you look at me right now, the shot that I'm on, I'm on a 50mm lens, but this is on a micro four thirds camera, so it's ostensibly doubled, so it's 100mm. But still, is this 50? No, I'm sorry. This is 15. So this is a 15mm lens, so it's 30. So it's similar. But still, man, look at that. That bird is... He was close. He was close to the jaws of death. Yeah, yeah, and those jaws look like they're very powerful.
And birds don't play around, man. You do not.
Yeah, no, I would just suggest on this image. I mean, I love the fact that with that shallow depth of field, it's a challenge to get the whole beak in focus, right? That thing had to be in the field of focus, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I feel like the color balance, the white balance, is off on this though. It was probably shot open shade because I can see the reflection in their eye. So I'm thinking it needs to be warmed up a little bit, color balance on the black feathers of the bird or the white feathers or something. And I think the tone would improve a lot because it feels very blue to me.
Yeah, or maybe looking at the colors, the vibrant colors of the yellows and the whites, I'd want to see those pop a little bit more. Right.
Yeah, and I bet they do. It just looks to me like it was shade light.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say, or overcast, where you get a lot of blue light.
Yeah, and I wonder, Joshua, if this was, did Mighty Networks do anything to your color balance to kind of shift it, or is this the image as you saw it, or as you intended? So let us know in the comments. I'd be curious about that. Very cool. And I agree with you. Yeah, cropping in, doing a version of this, it's sort of cropped in on that eye with some of the feathers, and if he was that close with that camera, there's some serious detail in there, right? So just to concentrate on the detail and just those feathers that are coming out randomly and the circular eyelashes, that's crazy. I'd want to see that. All right, moving right along. All right, Joshua, thank you, sir. Craig Stampley's in the house. He said, Craig says, trying to follow a Volkswagen on track earlier this morning with everyone going from one system to another. I recently snagged a 1D Mark III for a bargain. The only thing I need to do is give it a thorough sensor clean to get rid of the sensor gravel. Let's take a look at this shot.
Do Porsche owners like to be told that their cars are V-dubs? Do they like that?
Yeah, this is not a Volkswagen, dude. That is not a Volkswagen, unless Porsche purchased Volkswagen.
I don't know. Either way.
Or maybe someone's owned by the other. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah. What do you think of the shot? I have a hard time sort of critiquing motorsport shots because it's almost like shooting slide film to me. Right, because you have either like with slide film, either you got it or you don't, and it's very obvious in either direction when you're shooting slide film if you've nailed the exposure. Just like with motorsports, it's very obvious if you got the shot. Like this one, panning, he nailed it. Looks pretty sharp on the vehicle itself, and this thing was moving fast. And obviously, the intent is to show that this is motorsports and this thing is moving fast. The front of the car has got a little bit of motion blur on it, but the back of the car is tack sharp. And, he nailed it. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what would be your opinion on these sorts of shots, these motorsport shots?
I love seeing the motorsport shots. I did notice something, though, that lately all of the motorsport shots we see, they're all going to the frame left. Do any vehicles travel frame right? I'm just wondering.
I think it might be illegal again. That's a federal offense.
They're only going frame left. Like, no, they're this is a very cool shot. I love the color of the car, though. Yeah. That I think is probably my favorite. Again, it's all about, I look at like distracting elements, like what's in the background. The car directly behind this subject is intruding in, the visuals of this particular car. So it would be nice to not see that little bit of timing. Yeah. And the front of this car,
you can take that out easily though.
Yeah. And the front of this Porsche is out of focus. So it's just missing it by that much.
Yeah, you got to say that in your Maxwell Smart voice.
That much.
You know what else is cool about this shot? The license plate on this car. Did you see
that? Yeah, I can see it, but I don't know what it says.
Machina.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting.
Yes. Come on, science fiction nerd. What's the matter with you?
I'm looking at the aesthetics of the art.
Oh, and I'm nerding out on the license plate. And I'm thinking to myself, man, California has those cool black license plates now. I really need to get one. So, that's cool. Cool, man. Yeah, Craig. Answer if you or Mike Doran or Stephen Sharf can answer the question of the phenomena of the left to right moving motorsport shots versus left to right moving, and if there's some secret hidden handshake amongst you guys that says that you can only do that. We want to know because we don't know.
Yeah.
All right, moving right on along. This is from Mike Doran. See, vehicle moving from the right to the left. Mike says, while going through my images from last weekend, I came across this cool panning image of my friend Josh Hayes. I created this with the Canon 1DX with a 24-105 f4.2 at 5.6, 12/50th of a second. What? ISO 1250 at 1/60th of a second.
Maybe that hat is making it hard for you to read the English language.
It is, and these glasses, these are new readers I got. I'm trying out, right? I'm trying to avoid that LASIK thing, man.
Yeah.
Because, a friend of mine told me never let anything sharp near my eyes, so...
That's right. Lasers count as something sharp, by the way, so...
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the sharpest, right?
Yeah. I'd walk in with eye protection and a face mask, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna." No, I'm protecting my eyes right now.
If you can fix my eyes with this welder's mask on, we're good.
That's right. I've been trained well.
Exactly. Cool. All right. What do you think of this shot? This is your wheelhouse, right? You have a bike, a dirt bike like this, right?
Yeah. Mine's a little bit bigger. The challenge that I have with this image is the bike isn't moving at all.
It's frozen.
It's frozen. There's no sense of motion in the bike. Yes, the background is blurry, but that really isn't giving me sense in the bike. It has kind of a loose crop. And then the shadow, the really harsh shadow, and the on-camera flash kind of shot that it is, it just makes it hard to get a sense of, motion and speed and excitement and all that kind of stuff that you want to see in motorsports.
Well, I mean, but he's got, in Mike's defense, he's panning and he froze it on the background. This is a flash shot, clearly, though, right? So you're not gonna get any sort of motion blur with a flash, and it looks like it was either early morning or at dusk or in shadow. So he had to use a flash to get it. So.
Well, you can get motion blur with a flash. You just have to set it to rear sync.
Rear curtain sync to do it.
Yeah, you can get blur, and you can fill flash it. You can shoot in manual. I mean, flash for me, flash is always about fill. So it's hard to make it like an on-camera flash, to make it a main light source, because it just flattens everything, throws shadows everywhere, stuff like that. I mean, I like what's going on, and again, it makes me want to get on a dirt bike.
Yeah.
But it's helpful to see motion.
Yeah. No, you're right. And Mike, chime in on the whole right to left phenomena too. We want to know. We want to know about that. There's gonna be a flood of left to right images coming in.
Yeah. They're just gonna flip them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but don't put any words in there. All right, cool. Moving right along. All right, the next one looks like one snuck in. We didn't talk about this one from Joshua Sommerfeld last week, I don't believe. The spider.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Spider having lunch.
The creepy spider.
Venom. Well, Venom is a symbiote. This spider is just eating. So it's like, that's
right.
Yeah. Oh, wait, did he put any? Let me see if he put any metadata information. I'm curious. Yes, he did. So he shot this. He said, yellow garden spider making a meal of a blue dasher dragonfly. Shot with his Canon EOS 77D with a Canon EF 75-300 and a newer 31mm macro extension tube. 300mm at f8 for 1/320th of a second at ISO 200. So, okay, so 300mm extension tube at f. Okay,
so he was close.
He was very close to this thing.
Yeah,
he was right on top of it, literally.
Yeah, not too close. I mean, you got a lot of depth of field in there.
Well, we don't know how far the background is away. But.
No, but on your spider, that's not a small spider. Those can get pretty good size.
Like, what's a good size? Like, how big?
I'm guessing probably over an inch long.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a big
You don't want to see
spider.
that. You don't want to see that in your shower. Yeah, for sure.
No, because cameras get wet in the shower, and it's hard to photograph.
Is that your attempt at comedy, Troy Miller?
Yeah, that was it. Sorry.
Hey, I'm the one wearing the Santa hat. Let me handle the comedy.
Moving along. Okay.
No, but cool. I mean, this is. I mean, these are fast moving objects as well, right? So, and to get all that stuff together, I wonder if he set this up. Was this a serendipitous shot where, hey, crap, there's a spider outside my window. Let me go grab my stuff and shoot it. You know, I know he didn't hire the spider to come in there and pose, but I wonder if he's like, you know what, I need to get. I want to capture a shot like this. Let me go find some insects doing their thing, and he was actually able to find this one. This is great because the spider is in mid wrap. It looks like on this on the dragonfly, right? Because he's wrapping him up to put him in the fridge for later.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, macro shots are tough. They're really tough. One, because, you know, we're seeing a world that's at a magnification we're not used to seeing. So it takes a little while for the non-trained eye to kind of catch on to what's going on. So macro is always really interesting, and it's a little bit more challenging to light and get perspective and depth of field and things like that. So when you do it well, it really comes off nice. You know, in a case like this, you know, it's hard to tell that that's a dragonfly in there if you don't tell me.
I just thought it was a fly, like I said initially. I just see fly wings in there.
Right. So, you know, as cool as this is, nice and centered, it's nice and sharp. I would say, you know, some dodging and burning on here would help bring us to the center of the image overall, but try to move around in a way that really makes that spider look gigantic and menacing, and use depth of field to your advantage, like you would in a portrait, instead of, you know, this is very flat within our subject. If that makes sense. And we have
crop in a little bit on this, and because you don't, like we always say, if it's not adding to the photo, get rid of it. You know, so
I would
just a little bit tighter on the spider, so you could see more detail on the spider, and maybe even recognize that as a dragonfly with its tail wrapped up.
I would crop this uncomfortably close. If you crop this just off of the legs, all the way around, and then you show that to somebody, they're gonna that doesn't like spiders, they're gonna jump.
Oh yeah.
Right, because it's going to be big, and I think that is really going to help get us really in there.
Get us in there. Get us at an uncomfortably close distance to this arachnid.
Yeah. I feel like we're looking at the spider at a safe distance.
Yeah.
You might as well make it big, right? And just
But look at those legs, though. Excellent work.
Yeah, these are cool spiders.
Look at the hair on the legs. I mean, that's some detail. Hair on the legs of the spider. You can see the pattern in the wings of the dragonfly. Very nice. But yeah, you're right. I want to see a little bit more detail on that spider. I want to see the eyes. How many eyes? 8 eyes the spiders have? Nasty.
Yep.
Nasty. All right, cool. I think that's the last one we have for today, man.
I think so.
Look. All right, we did it. Thank you, all of you submitters, for submitting into this week's TWIP Pro photo critique. Any final thoughts?
You know what? Keep submitting. Get ready for our what is it? Our I don't even know how to describe the topic.
Try. You could do it. Try.
Our year-end holiday spirit. What motivates you to get off the couch? I don't know.
There you go. Just motivation, Troy Miller. Just motivation. What motivates you? Yeah.
And it's best in infrared.
Yeah. That's best in infrared. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, is to get a camera modified to infrared, so I can see what all the hoopla is about. And speaking of infrared, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too early or prematurely, but you and I are in the brainstorming stage on a course that's going to go in the TWIP school that's all about infrared photography, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm excited. So maybe I will be your guinea pig, and I'll go through that course so I can learn.
Yay! There we go.
How to do infrared. I'll follow your instructions to the letter, and get my camera modified, and shoot, and make mistakes, and make successes, and all that. So.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, Troy Miller, if people want to catch up with you online or otherwise stay in touch, where should they go?
SpicyJello.com.
SpicyJello.com. You know, I started referring to you in TWIP Pro as Spicy, right? That's going to be your new name.
That's fine. You're just catching up with everybody else.
Is that already the name? Oh, man. See, I thought I was coming with something original. Jeez.
You are, yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. Well, cool. Well, folks that are watching this on YouTube, remember you can subscribe to the TWIP YouTube channel. Just click on that subscribe button and click that little bell to be notified when we release new critiques and all that. Or you can just come join us in TWIP Pro and submit your own images to have us nitpick at them and get our thoughts about them. All right, man. That's it for this episode of the TWIP Pro Photo Critique. We'll see you next time, man.
Yep, you got it. I'll be there.
Peace. This is TWIP.